Hello, I'm David, and in this video I'm gonna show you how to use my Tekla Structure handrail component. In video description I added a link where you can download and buy all my Tekla Structure plugins called the DDBIM tools. If you watch me first time, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let's start. To install my Tekla Structure plugin, you have to open Tekla Structure, then open Applications and Components tab, go to the menu, Manage Extensions, Extension Manager. Then you have to click Import button and select SEP file. Now open. After that, you have to restart Tekla Structure. I created my Tekla Structure plugins to the versions 2023 and older versions from 2016 to 2022 and to the newest versions in future. After installation, you can find my plugins in Application and Components tab, in DDBIM Tools Premium Tools group, and in Group Industrial Handrails. As you can see, there is 5 components. I created industrial railing knee connection for knee joints or corner joints, perpendicular connection to connect columns to handrail and columns to internal segments, beam connection which connect column to the beam. This connection is universal connection. You can connect column from top and from side. Currently I have 2 types. Type 2 is to the web. Type 1 is from top and it detects if it is stars or horizontal. This connection automatically detects where the column is and automatically connects it to the flange or to the web. Before we start using my industrial railing main component, please open Properties of Beam Connection, set bolt standards and bolt size for both types, type 1 and type 2, and save it as standard file. Because this connection is used in main industrial railing component, which is here. Industrial railing component have many options like endings, like columns, joints, positions, parameters like profiles, materials, names, classes, offsets, internal parts, offsets, connection to beam. Here you can select default connection, which is railing beam connection, and here we have attribute files. Or we can select other components and select our joint, for example, custom component or other joints, system components like end plate, for horizontal or for stairs in one window, or we can turn off joints and make it manually. We have option for corner connections. As you can see, we can select default connection, or we can select our custom component, or we can turn off this connection. Each connection we can set. We can set internal connection in the same way, default connection, or we can select our connection, or we can turn off connection and click it manually. Toe plate settings, we can turn on, off, on horizontal or on stairs. We can select connection, or we can select our custom component to connect to the plates. And lastly, we have internal joint dimensions. Before you start project, please set this window carefully and save as standard. To insert new handrail, please click industrial railing and now select 2 or more points parallel to the beam and confirm with middle mouse button. Now make sure you have select components options and turn on direct modification. After clicking on the component, you can see dimensions, points and line handles. Between insertion points there is blue line handle, this. Now I click on it and drag backward. As you can see, we can move handrail, and this handrail is fully independent from the beam, not like typical Tekla structure components. So if you delete beam, the handrail is still in the model. Handrail automatically detects beams nearby. As you can see now, there is no connection, but if we move towards beam and we are close to beam, the handrail automatically connects. Connection is independent from the position of the reference line. As you can see now, I move this line, but handrail still connects to the edge of this beam. You can select this position by setting offset to the reference line. You have to click this yellow dot here and select another offset. There is 5 offsets to the web. Now handrail connects to the web of the beam, not to the flange. There is edge, there is center, there is another edge and web from the other side. But please try to use these 3 offsets and try to insert handrails from the left to the right, looking from outside of the platform. You will have less drawings. Now we have set it to the web and see how it behaves near channel profiles. When we are from this side of the channel, this connects this way, and we have another side of channel profile, we have full connection. To modify length of this handrail, you can use these arrows, move toward and backward, or you can use these blue lines on the ends, which are here. This line helps you to set proper position between 2 handrails. For example, make it 75 between. And as you can see, when you click handrail, there is automatic dimension between second handrail. This automatic dimension help you to set proper distance value between 2 parts. And as you can see, using these lines, you can set this value easily. To change height of the handrail, please use end dimensions. You can set start height and end height separately, or you can add another height points here by dragging this blue small point and adding another points. And you can make different shape as you need. Or you can delete these points by clicking delete button. This dimension is for input shape. You can set length of this shape. This black square is for shape nearby trusses. You can set shape as you want. You can select another endings. We have this type or column, or we can prepare this handrail to maybe extend or connect it to another handrail. And we have ending which is made of one bended piece. Near the first point and near the last point there are handles with pluses. You can see them here. After you drag this handle, you can add another segment. For example, you can turn this handrail to the left. Or you can make segment with columns. It depends on the length of the segment. You can add maximum 10 segments. To delete segment, you have to select last point, click on it and press delete button. Or first point, but you cannot delete middle points. It was too difficult for me to program. So first and last points. You can create complex segments and you can set offset to each segment separately. So for example, we can connect here to the web, here to the center, and here to the edge. So for each segment you have separate offset value. On the segment corner you can see these dimensions which change the position of the first column. The same on the end and on the start. If segment is too short, then no automatic columns are created, but you can create these columns manually. To add column points, you use this point handle with plus. On every segment there are one point handle which can add additional column points. If you drag this, then additional column point is created and this black square handle is created. You can move this handle and move this point. You can add multiple columns if you want. If you want to delete column, you can select this square and press delete key. On the segments where automatic columns are created, you can add additional column points. Now, on this place, column will be created and another columns are created automatically depending on the maximum distance value. You can add and delete multiple column points, and you can change maximum distance value here on the first tab, max X. I change it to small value like 300, and you can see there are much more columns. Distance between is 250 and 293. The distances are equal but less than 300. The default value is 1200. When I move this manual column to the right, the automatic columns are created to the left because this distance is now bigger than 1200. And here you can add multiple columns if you want. You can turn off automatic columns. Here is the switch. On the first tab, you have option how to create handrail posts. Default is automatic, but you can select manual, and as you can see, this distance is now disabled. Now we don't have automatic columns and we can insert them manually using these handles. And as you can see, without automatic columns, there is no dimension for first column. This was created for non-typical situation when automatic columns are incorrect. Toe plates are automatically generated in full length of the segment. You can change the start point and end point. Here you have small blue handle. If you drag this handle, then this automatic toe plate changes to manual toe plate, and two black squares are created. Now these black squares are the first and end point of the toe plate. You can set start position and end position, which is now constant. You can also divide this toe plate into two segments. Here you have small blue dot on the middle of the segment. If you drag it, then this toe plate is divided into two sections. You can make multiple toe plates, but usually I don't need that function. So we have to delete additional toe plates. We can make it by clicking on this square handle and pressing delete key. Then another square handle and delete. And here for last toe plate, if we delete handles, then we have back automatic toe plate. So now it's manual. Now when delete, it's automatic. You can also turn off toe plate if you don't need. Here is the switch. You can make separate settings for toe plates on horizontal and on stairs. You can also set the toe plate connection. Default is weld. The second type is bolt connection with two bolts. The third type is bolts with plate. Or you can select other component, for example, custom component from component catalog, and set it is here. These parts are internal parts, and you can create multiple lines with internal parts. You can set the distance here, separate for horizontal sections and separate for stairs sections. For example, we can type here 4 times 200, and as you can see, we have 4 lines of internal parts. You can set internal parts from bottom or from top. You can also create internal part which go through the columns. Yeah, these parts are cutted to this column, but here you can change the switch and create internal part which are one long part which go through the columns. On the columns, the holes are created. These are bolt holes because cuttings in Tekla Structure are not dimensioning in the drawings, so I decided to make it from bolt holes to see dimensions. You can also create handrail with posts from angle profiles. Here I have example settings with angle columns. As you can see, we got angle column, we got flat for internal parts, and here we can see that this top railing is on the offset. Everything you can set here in parameters. Here are profiles, here are rotations and offsets. Internal parts are on the offset 50 millimeters in this example. Last column is rotated. As you can see, these 3 angles are rotated in other direction than the last angle. Now I go back to my standard with pipes. Okay, let's make some handrails on stairs. I click some horizontal section, stairs section, and another horizontal section. Here you can see that you can have separate height for the stairs and separate height for the horizontal. You can change the height. Start point and end point can be set separately. You can also set the same height on stairs than on horizontal. You can make separate internal railing spacing. So for example, on horizontal I can set 600 and here 300. As you can see, the distances are different. You can also set separate toe plate settings. For default, there is no toe plate on the stairs, but sometimes you need to make toe plate on stairs. As you can see, default connection detect if post is on the stair and make different type of the connection. All you can set here in industrial railing beam connection in type 1. The height of the railing is not parameterized in window. It is made of points in model. When we turn off direct modification and click on the component, we can see this violet points. You can select them with Alt and move in model. So for example, if you have to change handrail heights in all model, you can do it by looking from the side, selecting points and moving points. So this has consequences because after you insert industrial railing, you have to use these dimensions to change heights. And each time you have changed these dimensions to the proper height. To make it easier, I created another component with default values. So this industrial railing input settings component have default values for your railing. So before you start project, please set these default dimensions here, separate for horizontal and separate for the railings. As you can see, I type it here 2000, and after I insert new handrail, you will see that this horizontal is 2000. In the same window, you can set distances between these help lines, which help you to extend handrail. Default value is 100. If you don't like this default connection, then you can set your own connection from component catalog or custom connection. Here in tab connection to beam, you have to select connection type to other components. And now you have to select from component catalog connection you want. In this example, I will use 144, it's end plate. The same for stairs and the same for horizontal. As you can see, my component use connection 144. We have to set this connection settings here in this original connection window and save as with proper name. I prepared connection with name railing. So for horizontal values, it will look like this. And railing stairs with this bolt on the distance. So go back to the component window. Here you have to refresh attributes and select proper attribute names. Railing for the horizontal and railing stairs for the stairs. And after you click modify, the main component use connection 144 with proper settings. I go back to default connection. It can be situations where my railing component detect wrong beam. So for example, I can add here another beam. For example, you can meet that situation when you want to connect to this beam, but the railing detects another beam which is in wrong position. So in that situation, you have to open window with settings, select connection to beam, and here you can pick beams which my railing should connect to. We click on pick beams button and then select first, second and third beam and confirm with middle mouse button. My macro will copy identifiers of these beams into this window, and after you click modify, this connection is now correct. And after that you can clear and insert another beams in another places. When you insert your handrail near the gratings, you can see another dimensions are drawn. Even if you turn off direct modification, after you click on the component, you can see these dimensions. These are control dimensions. They are created using line. If this line meets any part in the model, then this dimension is created. These are control dimensions. Because you can change your height easily, you can make mistakes. So these dimensions will help you with modeling proper height handrails. And these dimensions works even if you select multiple handrails. So you can easily check if height is correct. Yeah, because here height is 1130 because grating height is 30, but height over the grating should be 1100. So that is all for today. Thank you for watching my tutorial. If you have any question, please comment this video or write email to me. Thank you and goodbye.